Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Oaktree TV. I'm Dave Kemp and today we're going to be looking at all of the different Hearables developments that occurred across the first quarter of 2019. So I just published this article in voicebot.ai recapping all of these developments, but in summary there were about 3 different things that occurred. Okay, so I think it's really important for our industry to be well aware of all of the developments and movement that's occurring in the consumer side, particularly as the consumer products kind of start to converge with the medical-based products like hearing aids. The two are kind of converging toward the middle, toward being little mini ear computers, which is really what a hearable is. And so if you look at the space, you can see that the clear market leader, Apple, is looking to maintain its lead. And the way that it's doing that is, by starters, introducing a new version of AirPods. So the new AirPods feature a wireless charging case, lower latency and faster pairing, a little bit better battery improvement, and hands-free Hey Siri activation. So you'll just be able to say Hey Siri and not have to press a button or anything like that. Now, along with that product, Apple-owned Beats came out with the Power Beats Pro. Okay, and so I think these are going to be really popular. They are a truly wireless earbud. There's no cord that tethers them like the old versions of Beats, and they come in 4 different color schemes, and they just look really cool. In essence, they are AirPods, but in a cooler form factor, in my opinion. Now, what's really notable about these 2 products is the shift that Apple made with the chip that is in these products. So previously, AirPods were powered by the W1 chip. Now, the W series chip is the same chip that powers Apple's wearables, like the Apple Watch. So the assumption was that the W series chip was going to power all future versions of Apple's in-the-ear devices. Not so much. Apple introduced the H series chip. So this is specific for headphones or hearables. And this chip architecture is going to be capable of supporting things like Bluetooth 5. It's going to be responsible for the faster pairing, the lower latency, and the hands-free Hey Siri activation. So I think what's really noteworthy here is just the fact that Apple is dedicating its own specific chip architecture to its line of in-the-ear devices. So I think it signals the importance of AirPods and Beats to the future of all of its offerings. Speaking of Hey Siri, I think it's really noteworthy that we also are seeing other smart assistant providers enter in the in-the-ear device space. First, we had Samsung enter in. Okay, so when Samsung came in February at the launch of their S10 smartphone announcement, they announced their new hearable Galaxy Buds. These are going to be a pretty strong competitor to AirPods, I believe. The form factor is pretty cool. They look kind of like Braggy Dash Pros. They have great battery life, and they're apparently said to have great pairing as well. So solid connectivity, solid battery life, a cool looking form factor, a lot of the different things that made AirPods such a hit, albeit maybe the form factor if you're not a fan of that. But I think it's important to note that Samsung has now entered the race. The other big one is the 800-pound gorilla, Amazon. Amazon is coming into the hearable space in the second half of 2019. They announced that they are working on a device that is Alexa enabled, and it's going to probably be something that is very Alexa oriented. So by the end of this year, we will have all 4 of the major smart assistant providers, Apple, Google, Samsung, and Amazon, with an in-the-ear device looking to be a home for its smart assistant. So I think that's really noteworthy. The pockets there are incredibly deep, and you can imagine that as those 4 vie against each other for our ears, for our ear share, that there's going to be a huge windfall of innovation that will likely seep into our industry. The last piece of movement that occurred in this first quarter was that we also saw early pioneers fall by the wayside. So Braggy is no longer in the space. They are pivoting away from hardware and instead going to focus on licensing its machine-based learning, machine learning software, Nano AI. So Braggy will no longer be making the Dash Pro. This now marks the second of the early startups that were sort of shaping the concept of a hearable, the other being Doppler Labs. Now it should be noted that Amazon's wearable or hearable is being developed inside its lab 126. That's its hardware division, where a number of Doppler Lab employees are now working. And so, with Nano AI, the software that Bragi is going to be focusing on, and the fact that Doppler has people that are now working on, the Amazon wearable, and then, probably some of the other working for other tech titans, we're going to still see their influence help shape the course of these products. So a lot occurred. I think something to keep an eye on, as that space kind of continues to develop. And like I said, as those four major tech companies look to compete to win our ear share, a lot of what will be occurring in that space, I think, is going to bleed into our industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.